I figured out how to get it to work with this trick, guys, especially if you feel like being a bad boy. Welcome into the lounge, single players. Today we're talking about my top Xbox 360 third-person shooter games, and while these are currently on the PS3, they're unfortunately not backwards compatible. So let's head on and get right into it. All right, guys. So for number 8 on our list, we have Stranglehold. It's a third-person shooter game developed by Midway Studios, Chicago and Tiger Hill Entertainment, and published by Midway Games. It's released in late 2007. It's a sequel to John Woo's 1992 action film called Hard Boiled. In Stranglehold, players control Inspector Tequila as he battles various gangsters across Hong Kong and Chicago. The game features intense gunfights, destructible environments, and cinematic action sequences reminiscent of Woo's films. Players can perform stylish moves like diving and taking cover, adding a dynamic feel to the gameplay. The story revolves around Tequila's quest to rescue his kidnapped family while navigating through a web of crime syndicates and uncovering a large conspiracy. So I can definitely see where they were going with this game. I personally am a fan of a game called Wet on Xbox 360. I like the way they do the cinematic diving and such more in that game than this one. I played Wet first before I played this one, but I can definitely see the appeal. I'm still keeping this in my collection, and I also like how you can hide behind cover in this one compared to Wet, but Wet's also a lot more expensive right now. So if you have played Wet and you like it, then I would recommend you check this one out, but it is a number 8 on our list. All right, guys, for 7th place, we have a game called Fracture. It's a third-person shooter game also. It's developed by Day One Studios and published by LucasArts. It's released in October of 2008. The game's set in the year of 2161, where global warming has drastically altered the Earth's landscape. In Fracture, the United States is divided into 2 factions: the Atlantic Alliance, which focuses on technological advancements, and the Pacific Army, which emphasizes genetic enhancements. And players take on the role of Sergeant Jet Brody, a cybernetic demolition expert, fighting for the Atlantic Alliance. The core gameplay mechanic allows players to manipulate the environment in real time to gain tactical advantage. Guys, this part's really cool about the game and unique. The storyline follows Brody as he battles through various missions to stop the Pacific forces and their leader from achieving their goals. The game features a mix of combat, puzzle solving, and strategic use of the terrain-altering weapon that they have. And guys, the puzzle aspect of this game cannot be understated. That's to go along with being able to alter the terrain. But for me, I really enjoyed it. It's quite unique, especially for a third-person shooter. It's not just going around shooting. And also for me, it kind of felt like I don't know, a third-person Halo game in a sense, sort of. I mean, if you were to take out the altering the terrain part. But if you guys have played this, let me know what you think of it down in the comment section. But that's going to be for 7th place in our list. Kane and Lynch Deadmen has made it to 6th place in this list. It's a third-person shooter released in 2007. The game follows the chaotic journey of 2 men, Kane, a flawed mercenary, and Lynch, a medicated psychopath. The story begins with Kane being broken out of death row by a group of mercenaries, only to find himself partnered with Lynch, who has his own violent tendencies. Together, they must navigate through a series of intense and violent scenarios to achieve their goals, all while dealing with their own personal demons. In the single-player campaign, players control Kane, while Lynch can be controlled by a second player in co-op mode. The game is known for its gritty atmosphere, realistic environments, and dynamic interactions between the 2 main characters. All right, guys, so if you've ever wanted to play as a criminal, this is the game for you. It definitely has some realistic aspects to it. You can't just go around shooting without cover and such like that. And there's a little bit of tactical use in this game with you just controlling the second character, Lynch, but it's a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and you might too, especially if you feel like being a bad boy. Dark Sector, coming in at 5th place, is a third-person shooter developed by Digital Extremes and released in 2008. The game is set in the fictional Eastern country and follows the story of Hayden, a morally ambiguous CIA operative. During a mission to intercept a rogue agent, Hayden is infected with a technocyte virus, which grants him the ability to grow a three-pronged weapon called the glaive from his right arm. This unique weapon can be used for both combat and solving environmental puzzles, guys, adding a distinctive twist to the gameplay. The game features a mix of single-player and multiplayer modes, with the single-player campaign focusing on Hayden's transformation and his battle against various enemies. The glaive can be used in combination with firearms, allowing for creative combat strategies. As the game progresses, Hayden gains new abilities, such as guiding the glaive through the air and using it to capture elements like fire and electricity. Dark Sector received mixed reviews, with praise for its visual design and innovative weapon mechanics, but some criticism for its similarities to other games like Resident Evil 4 and Gears of War. And while I do agree that this game is similar to Resident Evil 4 and Gears of War, it doesn't really have to matter, honestly. I mean, because both of those games are great, but we still enjoy playing both. If you guys haven't played either of those, you guys need to check them out. But both of those games are great, and yet they're similar, so it really shouldn't matter. So again, this game is really great. I love the art style, like I mentioned. The gameplay is unique. It's not as easy as it would seem, but it's fun and challenging at the same time. So that's why it's here on this list. All right, guys. For the 4th place, we have Army of Two: The 40th Day. It's a third-person shooter developed by EA Montreal and released in 2010. The game is a sequel to the original Army of Two and continues the story of the two protagonists, Rios and Salem. The plot centers around a series of catastrophic events that plunge Shanghai, China, into chaos. Rios and Salem must navigate through the devastated city, battling enemy forces and uncovering the mystery behind the 40th day. The game emphasizes cooperative gameplay, allowing players to use various co-op moves and tactics to overcome obstacles and enemies. Some of the key features are the cooperative gameplay builds on the mechanics of the original with new moves, and also strategies that require teamwork in this game also. And players can use a cover system to protect themselves from enemy fire and plan their attacks just like from the original. And also there's a wide range of weapons that can be customized with interchangeable parts, allowing for personalized loadouts. Also, players face decisions that can affect the outcome of the game, guys, and it adds a layer of moral complexity, which I love in this game. Also, the game's environments are highly interactive and destructible, providing a realistic and immersive experience. Army of Two: The 40th Day received praise for its improved co-op mechanics and engaging storyline, though some critics noted that it didn't significantly innovate beyond its predecessor. And while I can agree that it didn't significantly improve upon the first one was already really great in my opinion, and so this one just stepped it up a little bit more with the morality decisions and such, and so that's why it's here in my collection and on this list. And in 3rd place is 007 Bloodstone. It's a thrilling third-person shooter game developed by Bizarre Creations and published by Activision. It's released in 2010. This game features an original storyline, guys, set between the events of James Bond's film Quantum of Solace and Skyfall. In Bloodstone, players step into the shoes of the iconic British Secret Service agent James Bond, voiced by Daniel Craig, and the game combines intense shooting mechanics and hand-to-hand combat and stealth elements reminiscent of popular titles like Uncharted and Splinter Cell. The focus aim system allows players to execute precise shots after performing melee takedowns. Also, the plot revolves around Bond's missions to thwart an international terrorist plot involving biological weapons. The adventure takes players across various exotic locations, including Athens, Istanbul, and also Siberia. The game also features high-octane driving sequences as well, guys, and with its cinematic presentation, engaging gameplay, and the authentic Bond experience, 007 Bloodstone is a must-play for fans of the franchise and action-packed adventure enthusiasts. And guys, I would absolutely agree with that. This is my second favorite 007 game. The first one is actually the first 007 game. It's actually the first video game I've ever played. It's the 007 Everything or Nothing on original Xbox, which is also an original story. If you haven't played that, you should check it out. But this game is awesome. It brings a great balance of like the shooting, the driving, fighting. It's just a great balance all over, and it really immerses you into a James Bond story. So if you love 007 stuff, give it a shot. All right, guys, for our second place, it's going to be the Saboteur. It's an action adventure game developed by Pandemic Studios and published by Electronic Arts, released in December of 2009. The game is set in France during World War II, and the players take on the role of Sean Devlin, an Irish race car driver turned resistance fighter. It's inspired by the real-life figure William Grover Williams. Driven by a personal vendetta, Sean embarks on a mission to sabotage the regime and liberate Paris. The game features an open world environment allowing players to explore various parts of Paris and the surrounding countryside. The unique visual style uses a black and white filter to represent areas under heavy Nazi control, and also which gradually return to color as Sean completes missions and liberates them. The gameplay combines elements of driving, shooting, melee combat, and also parkour, offering a variety of ways to approach each mission. Players can use stealth tactics or just go in guns blazing, depending on their preferred play style. The game also includes a range of weapons and vehicles to aid in the fight against the Nazis, and the Saboteur also received praise for its atmospheric settings, engaging gameplay, and unique visual style. Though it faced criticism for some technical issues and repetitive missions, despite these flaws, it remains a memorable experience for fans of open world action games. And while I can certainly agree that the missions in this can seem somewhat repetitive, they're still a lot of fun in my opinion. Also, just the world is really where this game's at, with the black and white art style, and also just the storyline. The storyline's great with this too. I really enjoyed it. And this next one, I figured out how to get it to work with this trick, guys. All you have to do is unplug the internet, wired and wireless, and then restart it, and then put the game in, and there you go. And so for our number one spot, we have Mercenaries 2 World in Flames. And it's an explosive open world action game developed by Pandemic Studios and published by Electronic Arts. Released in 2008, the game is set in a fictionalized war-torn Venezuela. The story revolves around a mercenary who is betrayed by a Venezuelan businessman named Romano Solano. After being double-crossed and left for dead, the mercenary seeks revenge by taking on various contracts to destabilize Solano's regime. The game's primary objective is to kill the president of Venezuela, whose betrayal set the protagonist on this path. The game features a massive and highly reactive open world environment where players can interact with various elements and vehicles, from tanks and APCs to boats and luxury cars, helicopters, and players can destroy almost anything in the game world, adding a layer of strategy to the missions also. And players have access to a wide range of military and civilian technology, including satellite guided bunker busting mini nukes, guys. And while I would love to include everything I could in the gameplay that's available in this game, it would be a much longer video. If you guys are interested in something like that, let me know down in the comment section below. But this it's a lot of fun. The open world, all the places you can explore, the vehicles, the tanks, the helicopters, I mean, everything. You can collect stuff. There's so much in this game, and so that's why it's number one for me, and it's been number one for a while. It's not that expensive of a game, but it's definitely a great pickup if you've never played it. If you like Just Cause, then you probably will like this. I can't play Just Cause all the way through because it's not this. I'm so used to how awesome of a game this is. You might disagree. That's okay. You can let me know down in the comment section below also. And let me know what your favorite game is, and I'll take a look at it and let you know if I've played it or not. But until next time, you guys have fun playing single player games.